Hello everybody, and just here and welcome back to Madoka Magica, episode 5. In the previous episode, quite a bit has happened. It was mostly, I guess, musings and reminiscences about what happened before, right? Kind of winding down after their adventure in the witch world, misadventure, I should say. And Madoka had a nice little bit of heart to heart with Homura, and apparently Kyuubey had a little bit of heart to heart with Sayaka, because Sayaka decided to become a Mahou Shoujo. On one hand, great, because if not for her, then Madoka might have ended up very, very poorly, since she was sucked into the witch world, and that rarely, if ever, ends well. On the other hand, probably not the best choice, since she became a Mahou Shoujo. Maybe I wanted to say not for her own sake, but no, I have a feeling it might still be for her sake. She became a Mahou Shoujo to heal her friend, possibly with the hopes of said friend becoming a boyfriend in the end. And such selfish wish, even though it might be motivated by like selflessness, right? I don't want the wish. I just want him to be happy, to be healthy, to be able to play and whatnot. I have a feeling it might backfire. We don't know what exactly the price of a wish is, or rather, we know the price is eternal servitude as a magical girl, and by eternal I mean servitude until the day you die, which happens fairly soon because we haven't seen any like middle-aged or old magical girls, so stands to reason that they die pretty fucking young. But there might be some other elements of the price, some sort of a monkey paw wish, some sort of a genie wish. I very much think that might be the case, and if so, then who will pay the price? Will it be Sayaka who pays the price? Or will it be her friend, whose name is Kyosuke? Yeah, will it be Sayaka or will it be Kyosuke who pays the price? What's more, what other unforeseen things might it cause, right? What unforeseen events, unforeseen consequences. That's the word I was looking for. Because Kyosuke essentially just got healthy overnight. Is there any price to that? Is he gonna be now dragged between hospitals, people trying to experiment on him and try to figure out how did he manage to to get healthy so quickly? Will Kyosuke change? If that's also a possibility, right? Perhaps all this time he was tied to Sayaka because she was the only one who was visiting him, and that's how Sayaka formed some sort of a feelings towards him. Although that might have been a case even earlier, we don't know that exactly. What if Kyosuke now finds another girlfriend who isn't Sayaka? Right? The wish would have been for naught. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have been for naught if Sayaka genuinely wanted him to just be happy and healthy. But if she had ulterior motives, she signed off her life, she sold her soul for the sake of him, and she's not gonna get him. I have a feeling it might be going in that direction, but I can never be sure exactly. So, that's gonna be interesting. The price of the wish. Another thing that happened in the previous episode is, of course, also Kyoko, who appeared, the tomboy with a cutie fang, who wants to beat Sayaka up because she was hyped to get some new territory after Mami fucking died. But here comes Sayaka and takes the territory over, and Kyoko. And Kyoko will not have it. And that's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be some fighting, maybe enemies to friends, maybe frenemies, maybe something like that. I don't know. I can hope. Like the world of Madoka Magica is fairly dark and fairly bleak. But I would like to think there is some room for a little bit of hope, for a little bit of friendship, a little bit of fun. Maybe. Perhaps. Like, we did get a couple of more or less comedic moments, but it's certainly not the focus of the show. We also did get a couple of very heartwarming moments between friends and whatnot, but all of that was mostly just to cause us even bigger pain when one of those friends fucking dies, gets decapitated. So, yeah. I wonder how it's gonna end up with Kyoko. Is it gonna actually go enemies to friends? Is she gonna remain an antagonist for a better part of the series? Or maybe just for a few episodes, who knows? Something tells me she's not the final boss of the season. Something tells me there are much bigger forces at play. I mean, witches would be one thing, but something tells me there might be something beyond witches, even. Aliens? Elder gods? I don't know. Something. Probably not aliens. It's not. It's not Trigger. Trigger loves adding aliens in like the last two episodes of every show of theirs. Were there aliens in BNA? I don't remember. Wouldn't surprise me if the animals in Brand New Animal were all aliens, and it turned out that way only in like episode 11. But yeah, regardless, where we are now is Sayaka is a Mahou Shoujo. Kyoko is after her head. Well, not exactly. She doesn't want to kill her. She just wants to beat her up to give up her territory to Kyoko. And amidst all of that, we still have Madoka, who's being thrown around kind of like a ragdoll from one event to another, always at the center, even though she doesn't want to be at the center of attention. She just wants to have a normal life. She just wants to be helpful. She just wants to have friends. But I'm afraid the normal life is out of reach for her, which kind of makes me wonder what would happen if your wish, when becoming a Mahou Shoujo, would be to not be a Mahou Shoujo and lead a normal life. A little bit of a paradox. How would that be twisted, if it would be twisted at all, or would it just cancel the wish, or what would happen? Just a little bit of theorizing, because I don't think the system of wishes is like very precisely defined with clear borders and limits and mechanics and whatnot. It's just mostly a how should I say it? Mostly a storytelling tool rather than like an actual mechanic in the world. Uh, yeah, I think that's about it. So we should just start watching episode 5 of Meduka Meguka after Sayaka became Meguka, and now Kyuubey will want Meduka to become Meguka, but Meduka doesn't want to become Meguka because she saw Mami be decapitated and she's still traumatized. Right, subs. You're gonna need them to follow along. Sound. I'm gonna need it to listen to the ED of this show because the ED is fucking amazing. And also support. That's another thing I'm gonna need from you guys. Monetary on Patreon or Throne if you want. If you want to watch Madoka early, for example, that's Patreon. Or non-monetary, completely free. You can share my content, spread the word. That also helps the channel grow a lot. And with that, we can start watching episode 5 of Mahou Shoujo Madoka Magica in 3, 2, 1, go. Again with the cinematic bars. That was a hospital room, wasn't it? Okay, a little bit of a flashback. Oh, a little bit of a perspective shift and weird things growing behind Kyuubey. Okay, what the fuck did Kyuubey pull out of her soul? Pull out the soul, modify it, push it back into the body, something along those lines? The OP has a lot of scenes with Madoka being in her Mahou Shoujo outfit for how little of her Mahou Shoujo outfit we actually see. I mean, we haven't seen her in her Mahou Shoujo outfit besides her drawings because she's not a Mahou Shoujo yet. Episode 5, I will never regret this. I wonder. I wonder. Oh, right, she was in the warehouse with the bleach and stuff. Right, 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 right. Perfect explanation. Human mind will always find an explanation for anything. Hello, Homura. Yeah, Madoka ain't laughing. You ain't gonna feel this well when you get ripped apart limb from limb by some witch. I mean, yeah, makes sense, I guess. Kyoko out of nowhere. I guess. Possible. True. No, I'm just thinking of my friend being decapitated. Silly thoughts, really. Ah, yes, the motive of destiny yet again. Right, how did that go? Simple as. Get some witch hunting to do? Or are you visiting Kyosuke? Or whatever his name is? Yeah, more testing. Makes sense. I could turn into a double Mahou Shoujo if you need. Did Kyuubey do something fucky wacky like a rewinding time or something? Because it's one thing feeling your arm being healed, it's another feeling like the accident never happened. Time to hunt some witches? That's an interesting elevator. Is she gonna like henshin in front of him or something? Is that what she's planning? Oh, a flower field on the roof and new violin. Oh, old violin. He lost the ability to play. He lost the talent. Just completely spitballing here, but it would be very on brand. No, not at all. I guess I'm just looking for dark events where there are none. Every single scene, every single cut is unsettling though, so can you fault me? Like the scene with light behind him and him just being a silhouette. How unsettling is that? When a character is shown like that, it always ends up with them being stabbed by some tentacle from the back. Like, I'm super wary, super jumpy watching it. Just waiting for something to go to shit. Oh, I thought for a moment it was just a model of a city, but no, it's just a city. And she has binoculars. She uses binoculars as a weapon? Homura. You don't? Yeah. She did become a magical girl through a contract with a Kyuubey, but with a different Kyuubey from a different timeline or a different world. Is that it? The weird, abrupt cuts between noise and silence. Why are you saying all that? Magical girl needs to be battleborn, battle tested, completely cold, void of all emotions. That's a star on her fingernail? First time I noticed that. What's the deal with it? Spoiler alert! I mean, yeah, that's a very real chance that she will end up like Mami. Help her? Essentially. Yeah, but it's also a competition. You forgot about that bit. All those weird shots, very abrupt shots on their faces. Can't break the contract. Okay. Probably, I mean, if she says that, then yeah. You didn't finish your coffee. I guess she's not thirsty. Oh, hello there. Why the three mirrors? Hello, Madoka. I guess. And how did she end up? How did Mommy end up, Sayaka? You can't fight, you're automatically a burden because she has to protect you. A lot of very short, very abrupt cuts. I mean, makes sense. You're literally just headed to a place where you can fucking die. And dying ain't no fun. I guess also by Madoka being there, you kind of have Homura's protection because Homura protects Madoka. So, uh, oh, like a backup plan. If worst comes to worst, I'm gonna become a Mahou Shoujo as well. Is that it? Okay, yeah, that's pro. Oh, those scars are very in sync. And she has a crescent moon on her fingernail. Okay, so I guess besides just the Fabergé eggs, they also have like fingernail emblems. Henshin time! Yeah, there's the crescent moon on her belly button. Many swords! Okay. Taking a little bit of a combat style from Mami, aren't we? Kyoko? Kyoko, hello. And she uses a bendy spear. Very long bendy spear. Okay, so she's all efficiency. Yeah, she's all about grief seeds and not about helping people. Gotcha, gotcha. Very much playing a villain here. That's an interesting way to look at it. That's a very interesting way to look at it. Here comes the shaft neck. You're inexperienced. You're weak. You have no chance against her. And it's also a nunchaku. Or nunchucks, or however you want to call it. This is really an episode of abrupt cuts, isn't it? Abrupt cuts in sound, abrupt cuts in visuals. Okay. So some aspect of the wish you make becomes a part of your strength. Interesting. That was a magical circle underneath Sayaka. Did she buff herself up or something? Homura ex machina? Or not. Sayaka finding some strength inside of her. Okay. Okay. Color me impressed. Didn't you hear that it's a competition? I can't, but you can wish for them to stop Madoka. How did I know that? How did I know that? Good thinking there, Kyuubey. Motherfucker probably orchestrated all of that. Or is it time for Homura Ex Machina? Homura Ex Machina. The mistress of time, space, and the fourth wall. Abrupt cut to music. An abrupt cut to sound. An abrupt cut to the episode. I gotta check something real quick. Staff working on episode 5. The cuts feel really distinct. Episode director on episode 5. Animation director only on episode 5 again. Storyboard on 5 and 8. Okay, we're gonna check out those people after we go through this episode again. This episode was extremely short. I mean, it is definitely wrong, but you kinda knew what you were signing up for, so can't really fault anybody there. Your choice, your decision, your consequences to bear. Okay, but how about now we check out this episode again? Shall we? Everything that surrounds this dude, Kyosuke, is extremely unsettling. This whole first part of this episode is extremely unsettling. Like, okay, sure, it's sundown. The sun is red, sky is red, sure, but shouldn't be red to this degree. Extremely unsettling. This, like, table, sure, makes sense. Cool, table in the middle of this flower maze or whatever. Why the fuck does it have some weird tentacle leaf things behind? Another thing that's extremely unsettling. Kyuubey's eyes, the only thing that we see, it's red beady eyes. Shadows that move randomly. Well, not randomly, but abruptly. This, like, 3D pan. Another bit of unsettlingness. The shadows in particular, just moving like that. They shouldn't be moving like that. And we know that because we see how the shadows are cast normally. But now did the sun suddenly move? Impossible. What the fuck happened, right? It shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be possible, and yet it is. Kyuubey is T-posing, and through the power of the T-pose, reaches into Sayaka's chest with its ears, pulls out a blue blob, lifts it up into the sky, and then slams it back into her chest. Very, very weird. I mean, initially it was more weird because usually, like, giving power is associated with putting something in the body, and yet here comes Kyuubey pulling something out. Now, sure, he later returned it to her body, but why pull it out in the first place? Very weird, very unusual, very non-standard. Yeah, talking about the events of the previous episode, how it was apparently mass hallucination, industrial landscape, very, very weirdly industrial. I say weirdly industrial because you have all those wind turbines, and you see them even here, right? And they're white, glowing even in the sun. The purity of them. They're like clouds on the sky. They're merging with the clouds. Green hills, white wind turbines. Everything is ecological. All of it is like solar punk. We've already established it's a solar punk world to a degree. And yet here, you see the same turbines in black. And there are no rolling green hills, there are factories with smokestacks each. This doesn't look very solar punk. This doesn't look very modern. This doesn't look futuristic. What's the deal with that? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the deal with that is. I just noticed it's something interesting. That there are things like this, moments like this, scenes like this that stand in direct opposition to what the world is established as, essentially. I guess it's kind of a part of those, like, multitude of worlds where we have the sterile school, the very green and lush outside, solar punkish Madoka's home, those heavily industrial areas we always, well, not always, but often visit right before getting into the witch worlds. And it's an industrial landscape without the presence of a witch. Interesting. Also, again, everything is black, green, or blue. Very sterile, extremely so. But not in an unsettling way, more like in a dreamy, wispy, wistful way. And it kind of matches what they're talking about. They're talking about that light, that spark, that purity, that blue sky and green grass. I'm a magical girl, I can protect the city, I can be the beacon of hope for everybody, right? This hopes and dreams and the light. Here comes Mami and here comes the shadow. And the wind turbines are black now. Right, and there are also those scenes in the hospital. Again, extremely dark, extremely black. Only shadows and outlines. Something that I wouldn't mind risking my life to fight for. Indeed. Healing Kyosuke. shouldn't feel guilty because it was my choice. Sure, makes sense. Hmm. The shadows, the shadows, the shadows. Everywhere are shadows. That's what all this time made me so unsettled when the scenes in the hospital were taking place. Everything is just silhouettes and shadows. Zero light. You'd think it would be like a very happy moment, very happy scenes. Everybody would be rejoicing. But no, it's very sepia and very somber. Also, one bit here, I thought I kind of like uh, played into my theory that Kyosuke might end up with something who's not Sayaka. Kind of made me think that maybe it was her, the Ojo, whose name I forgot, who's been visiting Kyosuke as well, and that's why she's so sleepy because she's been visiting him late and staying up late or something like that. But no, no, thankfully not. Thankfully, even if we are gonna get into that territory, into that cost, into that price, we're not doing it quite yet. Cool, great. And the chairs again, chairs that completely do not fit. They don't fit a hospital setting. They don't fit each other. Some of them are like barely suitable to sit on. Chairs. I don't know. Don't ask. I have no clue. This is a miracle, indeed. Right, apologizing for harsh words. That's a lot of floors. Over 160 floors in the hospital. That's a lot. No wonder they have this weird touchscreen system in the elevator because you couldn't possibly fit 160 buttons there. Here, I honestly thought that Sayaka is taking him onto the rooftop as a secluded spot where she's gonna reveal the secret of being a magical girl, but I guess she wouldn't have any reason to do that, so makes sense that it wasn't the case. Instead, he got his violin back, or viola, I can never tell the difference. And again, the shadows. The shadows are really immediately make my mind jump to like the worst possible moment because it's kind of a trope by now in anime. If we don't want something bad, if we don't want to show something bad clearly, we just show the silhouette. We just show the silhouette of a character. We show the shadow get decapitated, and the shadow of a head fly away, and the shadow of like droplets of blood, and then we just cut to a close up on the face. We don't show the place of the cut. We don't show the blood. We've shown that on the silhouette. Whenever a character has a moment of like, oh, we won, and then there is a tentacle piercing them from behind, or an enemy raises up and stabs them, or something like that, there's also a silhouette. Maybe not all the time, but at the moment of the attack, everything turns into a silhouette. Silhouettes in anime generally have very negative, very bad connotations. Whenever you see a character turn into a silhouette, chances are they're gonna fucking die. Or they're gonna cackle maniacally. Or you're gonna see that weird thing where they like stretch the mouth into a shit-eating grin, and somehow that works. Like, I mean, it's anime, so of course it works. On humans it wouldn't, but you know what I'm talking about, right? It's always something like that. That's why whenever I see a silhouette, my mind immediately goes into the worst possible direction. Right? Okay, he got strength in his hand again. He can play the fiddle, he can play the violin, whatever it is. But he lost the talent. He no longer remembers the notes. He no longer knows how to plug the strings, Something like that, some price like that. That's where my mind went immediately. And I guess you can call it a subversion because no such thing happened. Again, silhouette. Again, silhouette. Again, what's gonna happen? My mind immediately went in the direction of a witch, immediately just pulling them into the witch world and killing all the doctors. Immediately went into the direction of, I don't know, a tentacle sprouting from the ground and killing them all. Right? Things like that. Of maybe Kyosuke suffering a heart attack, or throwing the violin on the ground saying that, no, it's not how it used to be, I don't feel the passion anymore, or, something along those lines. But no. Here, again, silhouette, again, something bad's gonna happen. No. It's a very, maybe not fun, but very positive moment. Everything went well. He can play violin again. We're having fun. It's a success. It's a miracle. We are celebrating. And yet, because of the use of color and the use of silhouettes, it constantly kept me on edge. A scene that's entirely positive. There's absolutely not a shred of negative spin in any of those scenes. And yet, it kept me on the edge all the time. And here's Sayaka, not Sayaka, something with our, what's her face? Kyoko. No R. Kyoko Sakura. I guess that's where the R is. Yeah, Kyoko observing them through her weapon. That can be binoculars, which is interesting, seeing how there are other binoculars around. I'm assuming it's kind of like Mami's magic, where it wasn't like gun magic, it was ribbon magic, essentially. And she was able to turn her ribbons into guns. That's why she was using flintlocks, because flintlocks have very simple mechanism that she could replicate with ribbons. I'm assuming something similar is here. She has like a stick magic or something like that, and she can turn sticks into binoculars because, of course, she can. Probably. I could kill someone like her in a heartbeat. Shaft neck. Or I guess it was like the binoculars that were already here that she somehow turned into her own binoculars, and for some reason, I don't know. Ah. Yeah, I'm talking with Homura, hoping to get Sayaka some protection. Yeah, first time I noticed the markings on their fingernails. Were they shown before? I don't know. They probably were, I just didn't notice. And it's only now that we show some focus on their hands that those markings are actually visible. You can't be a magical girl unless you understand that. A lot of very quick, very abrupt cuts. Just raising face and a cut. Moving head, cut. Very reminiscent of Monogatari. From what little Monogatari I've seen, I think I've seen like half of Bakemonogatari and that's it. I've seen the entirety of Zetsubo Sensei, at least the first season. Very reminiscent. Very, very Shaft. Not just Shaft neck, which there is a lot of Shaft neck in this episode. Those abrupt cuts. That's another thing. And I'm not gonna catch it here, but if you've seen this episode, if you've watched it alongside me, you surely have noticed also the abrupt cuts in sound. There is no fade out, there is no fade between. Cut. Noise, 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 silence. Silence, 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 noise. Noise, noise, music and noise. Music and noise, music and noise, music and noise, music. silence, very abrupt cuts. Not everywhere, but a lot of the time. Should be much safer if you all fight the witches together. Should be, but that's not how it works. It's a competition. I want you to give up on Miki Sayaka. Like logically, sure, the best solution, but Madoka isn't a person to abandon her friend. Absolutely not. And regarding what Homura said before, that you can, that idealism, right? That purity, that idealism, you can't be a magical girl unless you understand that those are like negative traits. Makes sense. There is no idealism on the battlefield. There is no mercy. There is no fun on the battlefield. There is no emotions to be had. You need to be efficient. Only things that matter are efficiency, essentially. Efficiency and power. If you don't have those, you won't be able to survive. If emotions weaken you, they weaken you. That's just a fact. You're weaker than you could have been. Get rid of them. If some attachments make you lose focus, get rid of those attachments. You need to be 100% focused on the witch, or else you're going to die. Homura speaks truth here. And I wonder where we're gonna go with that. What I mean by that is, where are we going in the direction of a story where Homura's words ring true and are true, and Sayaka has to learn to reject those weaknesses? Or are we going for like a more hopeful ending, where in the end it turns out, when Madoka eventually becomes Meguka, it turns out that this attachment, this emotion, this friendship are strengths that help Madoka achieve what Homura thought to be impossible to achieve, or something like that, right? Are we going for complete and utter bleakness, or are we going for the power of the Nakama? Could go either way. Could really go either way, depending if we want to keep the bleakness of the world, or do we want to sprinkle in some hope. And yeah, once a Mahou Shoujo, forever a Mahou Shoujo. It's like trying to bring someone back from the dead. Impossible. Unless someone has a wish. Could it be? Right, again, we don't know just how powerful the wishes are. Could you wish to eradicate the witches once and for all? Could you wish to alter the terms of the contract so that no magical girl in the past, in the now, or in the future has to give up her life, so that the contract can be broken one-sidedly without any repercussions? Can you do those things? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know the limitations of the wishes. Same goes for like bringing back the dead. Could be possible with a wish. Maybe, maybe not. Have you given up? Yeah, she has given up. Because, again, I'm led to believe it's not her first rodeo. It's not her second, it's hardly her 100th. That's the vibe I'm getting. She's completely and utterly devoid of emotions, and she has complete and utter mastery of her power. You cannot achieve that by being a magical girl for like 5 years. You achieve that by being a magical girl for 5 years times 100. And also what Kyuubey later said, that I did make a contract with her, but I also didn't. Which again leads me to believe it's alternate reality Kyuubey who did it. chairs, well, a singular chair, but multiple mirrors for some reason. And Kyuubey being a cat. When mistaken, I'm a goner. Indeed. Madoka wants to be your support. And of course she agreed, because of course Madoka is her strength. And yeah, it's not like you're out of options, Madoka. Right? If things were to go awry, just say the word. Just say the word, really, and I can do whatever you want. I can protect your precious friend. I can protect you. I can give you strength to protect her. Doesn't that sound enticing? It does, doesn't it? It really feels like Kyuubey is playing some seven-dimensional chess here, like mm, getting Madoka and Sayaka to meet Mami, so that they can learn about all of it, so that uh, meeting with Sayaka at the hospital to persuade Sayaka into becoming Mahou Shoujo. Now, perhaps purposefully bringing Kyoko into the equation so that she can provide danger for Sayaka, so that it can force Madoka to take action and become a Mahou Shoujo. It does feel like there are some machinations afoot. I'll be ready whenever you make up your mind. Doesn't have to be now, doesn't have to be tomorrow, but I'm gonna be waiting for your decision. And yeah, another marking. I thought initially it's something unique to Homura, but no. Sayaka also has it. Witch World, very simple this time around. Very simple, like, not overall, but comparing to the other worlds we've seen, extremely simple. This is, I think, the first time we see her henshin. It seems sped up a little, but I'm not sure. And kinda hard to call it a henshin. She rotates around and she's henshined. And she has a crescent moon on her belly button, and she has what is called a butt fang. And she has a rapier or a saber or whatever that weapon is. Saber or a cutlass of some sort. I like her fighting style. I'm always a huge fan of using multiple weapons. I always love characters that have like weapons floating behind them, or they have some additional arms, like mechanical arms with additional weapons on them, or something like that. That's why I loved Mami, because she spawned like 50 flintlock guns, flintlock rifles, and was just going through them one by one, shooting, dancing. Seems Sayaka is going for the same thing, spawning multiple saber, cutlass things, and then just throwing them like a machine gun. Who needs guns when you can throw sabers? Alas, not that easy to hit. But here comes Kyoko with her weird bendy spear, and just immediately, well, doesn't kill the monster. Just just like allows it to flee. Yeah, familiar. It's not a witch, it's a familiar. Let it eat 4 or 5 people and it'll grow into a witch. Okay, before that. That's a very unsettling thing to say, for sure. Because from other Mahou Shoujo series, we are used to magical girls being protectors of humanity, right? It's always protecting humans so that the monsters from outer space don't hurt them. They don't, I don't know, take away their love or whatever the current Mahou Shoujo show is going for. This time, it's idealistic to think that you're a protector. It's realistic to think it's a competition. It's a competition for the grief seeds. You want grief seeds. Your task, your goal is to collect grief seeds to become more powerful. I'm assuming that's how it works. We've only seen grief seed used to cleanse the Fabergé egg, but I'm assuming if you have a surplus of them, you can use them to power up your egg or power up yourself or something like that. Because if not, then why would you be hunting for so many of them? I don't know. But yeah, if a familiar can turn you into a witch, and the familiar doesn't give you a grief seed, but the witch does, it makes sense, like from a purely pragmatic standpoint, to let that familiar go, wait for it to grow into a witch, then slay it, and gain something out of it. If you're purely pragmatic, sorry, it's kind of late. If you're purely pragmatic, if you give zero fucks about morality, makes sense, makes perfect sense. And yeah, this shot, Jesus Christ, the perspective, and just two empty, beady red eyes, straight into shaft neck. Yeah, don't pretend to be a hero and rescue people. We're not heroes, we're competitors. It's not a co-op, it's PvP. It's PvPvE, I should rather say. It's a MOBA with bosses in the jungle. It's a battle royale with special enemy spawning. Thanos spawning every half an hour or whatever. Right? That's what it is. And Kyoko is strong, Kyoko is powerful. Because she's been hunting for the grief seeds. She wasn't focusing on saving people, she was focusing on growing her own power. Also, just purely from the standpoint of experience. She's been a magical girl for much longer than Sayaka has. I really do like her weapon. Uh, I don't like it as much as I like Unlimited Saber Works and Unlimited Gun Works. Unlimited Gun Works is probably. No, not probably, certainly. 100% my favorite combat style in all of anime ever. Honestly. What Mami showed us, top one, hands down. There are some characters that have really cool, really interesting combat styles as well. Who would come to mind? One thing that comes to mind is the main character of Seikon no Quasar, but it's more like mechanics of the world, mechanics of magic that work there. Ryoko in Kill La Kill, I really do like her ingenuity, how she can change her kamui to match the battle and stuff like that. There are some really cool, really imaginative ways that characters fight, but nothing beats Mami. Nothing. Mami takes the first place, Sayaka takes the second so far. But yeah, her spear can turn into nunchucks, it can grow, it can shrink, it can bend. What can it not do? This is interesting though. Very interesting tidbit. Yeah, sorry, I got lost for a moment. It's very interesting that she has some healing related, maybe not powers, but like uh, native built-in regeneration, essentially. Because her wish was related to healing, she got a little bit of that wish for herself. Interesting. very, very, very interesting. Makes me think, are there other examples of that? Right? What did Homura wish for to get the mastery over space time itself? What did Mami wish for to get power of the ribbons? Right? Or are the wishes not related to powers? They're just related to like passives, essentially. And if so, what other passives do other Mahou Shoujo have? Like for a moment there, when Mami was decapitated first, my thoughts went in the direction of she was on the verge of dying. She made a wish to survive. Maybe that's actually gonna help her survive decapitation. Maybe she's to some degree immortal because an echo of that wish still lingers. Maybe, maybe not. Who's to say? Sudden power up out of nowhere. Energy ball. And you lost regardless, I'm afraid. And Kyuubey, forever tempting. You have the capacity to do that. You can save your friend if you want. You know what you have to do, Madoka. Just one word. Just one word from you and you can save Sayaka. Don't you want to save your friend? You do, don't you, Madoka? And it almost seems like she will make the wish. But Homura Ex Machina. I like how we show her in the drops of water. Not openly, but just in the drops. And this is cool. Sayaka is on the right side of the waterfall. Kyoko is on the left side. Kyoko is aiming straight for Sayaka. Water was stopped for a moment there. Yeah, water is completely still, and so are the droplets. The time has stopped. And now the time resumes. And now Kyoko is on the right side, and Sayaka is on the left side. And Homura gracefully lands. All shining and sparkling, with a weird buckler for a weapon. And some cool music in the background. Completely nonchalant, as if nothing happened. Yeah, that really does lead me to believe that Homura's powers are time and space related and like fourth wall related. And she was able to use the time element of her powers to somehow rewind time to save Madoka. I'm willing to bet that's the case. Although time and space, so she might have jumped to a parallel universe. That's also a possibility. I don't know. Either is possible, honestly. Either is possible. That's the end of episode 5, and the next episode is titled It's Something Wrong or something like that. It's definitely wrong. That's definitely wrong. Let me take a quick look at it. This is definitely wrong. Indeed. I'm assuming that refers to Sayaka being a magical girl, or the fact that Sayaka and Kyoko are fighting. Because it is wrong. From the perspective of a viewer, from the perspective also of the inhabitant of that world, but mostly from the perspective of the viewer who knows Mahou Shoujo shows to a degree, right? Who knows, I don't know, Strike Witches, who knows Precure, Kill La Kill, Flip Flappers, Okay, maybe Kill la Kill not the greatest example, although in the end it is, but Flip Floppers. I watched personally Flip Floppers and what was the other one I mentioned? Strike Witches. Strike Witches is kind of mecha musume, but I guess you could call it a subgenre of Mahou Shoujo because it's essentially the same thing except with technology instead of magic. But yeah, it's usually the case. To clarify, I haven't seen Precure, but it seems to me like a very classic, very standard Mahou Shoujo show. In Mahou Shoujo, the general trope, the general story is that magical girls get powers to save humanity, and they cooperate to save humanity. There's a group of like 5 friends who are all magical girls with different colors, and they are all fighting evil blowdables that suck out the joy out of people's lives. Or, something like that. Sure, there is sometimes infighting inside of the group, but keyword being infighting. And it's usually over either completely inconsequential things, like, oh, Mommy-chan, you ate my pudding. No, I didn't eat your pudding, Sayaka-chan. It had to be someone else, right? There are plenty of episodes like that. It could be serious, sure, as well, but it's always infighting. It assumes there's a group that's bound together and works together, but sometimes there is some sparks inside of that group. In this case, in case of Madoka Magica, there is no group. There is only individuals. There is no cooperation. There is no, like, if you defeat a witch, you all get stronger. Everybody who participated in killing that witch becomes stronger. No. There's one grief seed. You take that grief seed, you become stronger. Everybody else gets nothing. Every magical girl has her own territory. They fight over that territory. They fight each other for witches. Some of them practice very unethical practices of letting a familiar feed on people to eventually grow into a witch so that they can get a grief seed. That's Madoka Magica subverts the Mahou Shoujo genre in pretty much every way possible. Honestly, it's just henshins that are kind of like the staple of the genre, and you couldn't really call it a Mahou Shoujo show without henshins. So it's not really, it cannot really be subverted because if it was, you would end up with a completely different genre. But yeah, everything there is to subvert about Mahou Shoujo is being subverted, including the fact that the main character still isn't one, right? Like usually, usually it is the case where it's either the main character who becomes the first Mahou Shoujo, or maybe they stumble across some existing Mahou Shoujo. Symphogear, that's also a Mahou Shoujo show essentially. Or either they stumble upon some other Mahou Shoujo and in some freak accident become magical girl themselves or something like that. Uh, it's very rarely that you. What was I going for? Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I lost my train of thought completely and utterly. What was I talking about? That there usually is either a Mahou Shoujo or they're the first ones. Right, Madoka not being a magical girl yet. That's what I was talking about. That's another subversion. You'd expect her to turn in like episode 1 or episode 2 because she witnessed Homura or she witnessed Mami be a Mahou Shoujo and she wanted to become a Mahou Shoujo as well. And then by accident, Sayaka learns about it and Sayaka also wants to become a Mahou Shoujo, right? It kind of spirals out starting from Madoka. Not the case. It seems like Madoka will be the last one to become a magical girl here. And that's another bit of subversion. There's even like subversion, a lot of it, not related to Mahou Shoujo genre at all. As I mentioned, the silhouettes on the background of of a setting sun, of a sunset. Immediate visceral reaction of fear from me, but nothing happened. Very positive, very not fun, but very positive scene. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. I'm glad in this episode we've seen Sayaka's power and that she uses multiple weapons. Thumbs up for that. My favorite combat archetype is using multiple weapons, so I love you, Sayaka, already. I love Mami more, but I also love you, Sayaka. Homura yet again flexed her time-space powers. She's like a motherfucking Siri. Maybe there is some elder blood flowing in her veins. Who knows? Maybe that's the wish she made. Maybe she made a wish to rewind the time and the power stuck with her. It's a possibility. What else? What else? What else? What else? Kyoko is an interesting character. Her view of the whole Mahou Shoujo thing is very skewed, very twisted, but also very pragmatic and very logical. And initially, I thought she might go like enemies to friends, but I'm not sure. When you have such opposing views on what you're doing, kinda hard to become friends, right? Unless Kyoko does a 180 on her opinion on her practices of releasing familiars free, I can see her being friends with Sayaka. So perhaps that's not gonna happen. Anything else? No, I think that's it. I think I said what I needed to say. Oh, no, I didn't. One thing I wanted to check out, of course, is the people responsible for episode 5 in particular. Takahiro Majima was episode director of just episode 5. No other episode, it seems. And was also mostly a production assistant, but also an episode director on some Idolmaster, Zetsuo no Tempest, 10th episode of Jojo Kimi no Bokuen, more Idolmaster, Yozakura Quartet, Kimetsu no Yaiba episode 7, a lot of very singular episodes he directed. Mayoko Matsumo is an animation director for just episode 5. Also animation director for Beatless, Cancol movie, Symphogear episode 5. Interesting that it's also episode 5. Lotte no Omocha, Kiss Xyz, Key Animation, cool. Gwyn Saga, whatever that is. Shinichi Omata, storyboard for episodes 5 and 8. Also directed episode 1 of Kaguya-sama Ultra Romantic. Rap part storyboard in episode 5, storyboard for some other episodes, storyboard supervisor, storyboard and director for Kaguya-sama Tensai Tachi no something, director and storyboarder for Kaguya-sama Tensai Tachi no something else, director and storyboarder on Kaguya-sama. Yeah, okay. Again, worked on Astaroth no Omocha, and plenty of hentais. Damn, I'm glad I'm not showing this on screen. I'm glad I'm not showing this on screen. Jesus. Animation producer, production desk, animation producer, animation producer, animation producer, on plenty of hentais. Damn. Yuya Kumagi. Kumagai. Yuya Kumagai. Key animator on episode 5 again. Also an episode director on episode 4, storyboard of episode 10 of Lotte no Omocha, Mahou Sensei Negima, whatever that was, and also worked on all the same hentais that his fellow friend did. Cool, cool, cool. Oh no, I was talking at Shinichi Omata again. Yuya Kumagai. Blue Archive short! Key animation on the Blue Archive anime, short anime. Cool, okay, great, I love it. Kizumonogatari, to be expected. Kizumonogatari, Gochi Usa, Griseya no Rakuen, Griseya no Meikyu, Punchline, and Nisekoi. Key animator only on a couple of episodes as well, Nisekoi OVA. Symphogear, key animation episodes 5 and 12. Nisemonogatari, Infinite Stratos, Okay. Masaki Takemiya, a key animator of the opening, episode 5 and 12 of Madoka Magica. Also directed Kaguya-sama No, sorry, wrong person again. Fate Grand Order, Kageki Shoujo, Ruby, key animation on episode 1, key animation on a few episodes of Gleipnir, action animation episode 20 of Railgun, key animation of the OP of New Game, key animation of episode 1 of Princess Principal, shows that I actually recognize. Key animation for the third opening of Fairy's Story in a New Game again. Hayore Nyarko-san, F, character designer. Also Nisekoi, SAO2, Monogatari, some other Madoka Magica, more Hayore Nyarko-san. Durarara, the animation on episode 21. Okay, and yeah, and that's all I wanted to say. All I wanted to check out. Interesting. Interesting that this episode had so many very abrupt cuts, both visually and sound-wise. And how many people worked solely on this episode. That was a very shaft-feeling episode for sure, visually in particular. Yeah, I think I don't have anything more to say, so I'm just gonna end it here. My throat is already hurting me. So yeah, you guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode, my reaction, my theories, stuff like that. No spoilers, please, don't spoil me anything. You don't want spoilers, I don't want spoilers, nobody appreciates them. If you do want to talk spoilers about Madoka, you can join my Discord here and also in the description. It's free, open to everybody. There's a Madoka Magica channel there, and you can use spoiler tags and talk spoilers right there if you so desire. Like this video if you liked it, disliked it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Madoka Magica, but also Symphogear GX, Yovka no Uta Call of the Night, Overlord Season 4, Ruby Ice Queendom, and Hataraku Mao-sama Season 2, and I also play some games sometimes, so might want to check that out. Click the bell to be notified and all of that jazz. You can support the channel if you want on Patreon or thrown monetarily. On Patreon for $5, for $10 a month, you get early access to non-seasonals like Madoka, like Symphogear, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord, and you also get a place in the credits. And on Throne, you can pitch in towards my purchase of new gear, proper camera, better lighting, stuff like that. If you don't want to spend any money at all, there's a very free, completely free actually, way to still support the channel, share my content, spread the word, spread those links to my videos and my channel around, all around the internet. It really helps a lot when you recommend my channel to someone and that someone comes to watch my channel. It really helps the growth like a lot. So I appreciate if you do engage in such an activity. That's it. Yeah, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the credits that I mentioned before. You can be one of those people, and you don't have to become a magical girl to fulfill this wish.